Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Fino Concept. So today I'm going to show you how to create this half human, half skull. I just call it skull head for now. Photo manipulation in Adobe Photoshop. So let's just get started. Welcome to Fino Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up our application. For this tutorial, I'm using Photoshop CC 2019 and I'll go ahead and import my images. So these are the two images I'm going to be using. If you want this, you can just go to Google and search for human skull and you're going to get a bunch of them. But this is what I'm going with. I'll leave a link in the description below in case you want to use the exact same thing. Now the idea here is to make the subject look directly into the camera just like the skull is. If the subject is looking sideways, then the skull should also be looking sideways and probably in the same direction for this effect to work. I'll go ahead and open this up in Photoshop. Now I should probably take away the hand here. No, let's just leave it in so that it looks quite realistic. Alright, so I'll open this one up also. Now I'm going to take away all these black parts. So to do that, I'll just use the quick selection tool to select outside here. Now once I do that, I'll just click on this lock icon to make it a layer and delete it out. So once I have that, Ctrl D to deselect, Ctrl A to highlight everything, Ctrl X to cut it out, Ctrl W to close up this document, and I'll paste it in here like so. Now you can see that this the image of the skull is quite small, so I'll go ahead and stretch it out proportionally. In Photoshop 2019 upwards, you don't have to actually hold down the Alt key, Shift key actually. You can just stretch it out diagonally. Alright, so I think something like this should be just fine, and I'll click on OK. So let's zoom in for a second. Now let me reduce the opacity to about 50% so that I can see where to place the eyes. So the eye socket is supposed to be somewhere here, and because of that the head is also looking like so. So I'll just stretch this out like this. Now if you want to alter the shape, you can just hold down the Alt key and do that. So I think something like this should be just fine. You know what, I'll be creating a duplicate of this so the other part is going to fill up that area. Alright, so once we have this, just comment on OK. Now let's bring the opacity back to 100, and I'm going to create a duplicate of this. So Ctrl J, hide this previous one, change the blend mode to multiply and just zoom in quite a bit. Create a layer mask from this layer, grab the brush tool by pressing B on the keyboard, adjust the size to whatever you think is okay. Now because my layer mask is white, I'm just going to flip this around so that my foreground color is black, and anywhere I brush in is going to fade away like so. So I want to have mine from this area, so I'll be brushing over this area and just taking away those edges. So you can see the jaw is not on the mark, so I want it, so I'll just nudge it a little bit. Alright, now this is looking okay. So again, grab the brush to just brush over these areas. I just want to have one half of the face looking like that. Alright, so probably somewhere around here should be just fine. Okay, now again, just go back to the background, which is the actual image, Ctrl J to duplicate, hide the background, we don't need that. So I'll create a layer mask and I'll also brush in those areas. So I'm going to take away the ears. Now it's revealing the transparent background. That is okay, we will just fill it up with white later on. So just go to the adjustment panel, click on solid color and select a white color, or probably just sample that same color from here. Alright, so this is looking quite okay. So let's go back to our image and try to fill in those areas. So something like this. Then for this area, I'm just going to be brushing away so that it reveals the skull much better. Alright, now the opacity doesn't have to be at 100% for the brush, so I can set it to about 20 and just brush over these areas. That way it is still there, but it is not as strong as previously. And again, I'll turn it back to 100% and just fill out these areas just to show a little bit of the hair. Alright, now I think from here onwards I can just use the 20% opacity. Now I'm using the X key to flip my colors, so at any point in time when I'm brushing over, I'll just use the X key on my keyboard to just bring out those areas. Alright, so I think something like this is looking quite nice. Okay, now I can also bring this back up over here, but you notice that if I unlock this and I bring it here, it's going to fill up those areas I didn't need previously, so I'm just going to leave it as that. Alright, now let's zoom out and see if this effect is selling already. Now I want the eyes to be solid black, so what I'll do is, with the brush tool still selected, I'll go to the layer mask, fill it to 100% for the opacity, and I'll just brush away all that area so that you have this nice looking effect. So I'll go back to the scroll image, duplicate it again, I'll change the blend mode to darken and just have it in like so. So again, I'll just brush over these areas I don't need. Now you can see that it is actually showing over here. We don't want that, so I'll just brush over like so. Alright, now this effect is already selling, but because of the white background, it is looking quite weird now. If I zoom in, you can see all these edges, so I'll just use the brush tool again, select a layer. Now this works best if your image is darkened enough. In my case, it is super bright, so it's going to be a lot difficult to sell it as compared to if it was much darker. Alright, so again, I'll just brush over here, just under the chin a little bit. Okay, now this is looking much better. Now the top layer is too dark for me, so I'll reduce the opacity to about 50%, and I'll keep brushing in over and over again till you are comfortable with what you have. You can also increase the brush to about 500 or 1000 pixel, reduce the opacity to about 50%. This way it softens up the brush and it makes the effect look like it is fading over to that particular area. Now this is much better because you don't have to be brushing in the entire area. Now this helps to sell the effects much better. Now you can see that the nose is also showing, so I'm just going to reduce the size of the brush and I'll just fill it in, just going through my layer mask, just fill them in like so. Alright, so basically that's it. That's how to create this human skull effect. If you are trying to do it, try to have the screen as dark as possible. So in my case, I'm just going to apply a gradient, so change it to radial, reverse it, set the scale to 1000, so I have this nice vignetting effect on top. And I can probably just add in another one. This time around, I'm going to have it from the bottom. Let's try to make this image look much darker, so something like this should be just fine. And you can also just reduce the opacity to about 70%, and that will be all. So yeah, we are done. If you want this as a same PSD, I'll have its link in the description below, so be sure to check it out. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like to watch more of our videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Final Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.